Cycling for me actually is not something a tool for exercising and knowledge. Just a tool for me to experience nature or to travel. Yeah, when you are riding, it's not just you are inhaling the smell, but the fact that you are breathing much deeper, right? So you are experiencing everything in a different way.
Right.
The experience is profound. Like when you smell something, you're really smelling it.
Right.
And the fact that you are cut off from everything else and you are not multitasking, like it's very intimate relation when you are on the road on a bicycle. When I shop online on Amazon and all, I look at items which are having a good deal. But when you are buying a bicycle, you need to look at the complete deal. And the discount is only a small part of the deal. So ultimately, if you are getting the right kind of advice, the honest advice to pick up the right kind of product, if you're getting the right kind of support and service to maintain your bike, and then you have the right kind of communities to help you to be part of riding, then you have achieved what you wanted to when you thought about buying a bicycle.
I am Baiki Venki, and this is the Working Athlete Podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, time management, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future episodes. Today's guest is a good friend of mine. His name is Krishnendu Basu. Krish was one of my earliest ride partners when I started cycling back in 2008. In fact, both of us did our first century rides together in November 2008. Krish is a cyclist, a tour organizer, a partner in one of the best bike shops in Hyderabad, the Bike Affair. He was an IT guy before he got into starting and running a bike shop. In this episode, we talked about his journey and the journey of the Bike Affair in Hyderabad Cycling. We talked about his love for touring by bike and how he shares that love with others by organizing the Bike Affair bike tours and the importance of a good bike fit, etc. We also talk about the ethos of the Bike Affair and where he sees it in the future. I really enjoyed this conversation with Krish. Let us get into it. Hi Krish, welcome to the Working Athlete Podcast. It is a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Venki. Glad to be here.
All right. So Krish, with this episode, I want to kind of talk about the journey of the Bike Affair and of course, along with your journey with the Bike Affair, right? So before we get into that, what was work for you before TBA?
So before Bike Affair happened, which was in 2009, I was working in a software company in Hyderabad. I mean, I came to Hyderabad in 2005, and it's almost 4 or 5 years I was in Hyderabad working in a software firm. Before that, I was in Pune working in another company which was into industrial automation. So this was kind of a complete shift.
Right. So 2008 was the first time I met you. And
yes.
I think we know each other from the Bike Zone forum.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think we connected through Bike Zone and we started riding together.
Correct.
2008 October was when I started cycling. And 2008 November is when we did our first we started riding together, but we did our first century ride. At least first century for me with you.
Possibly the first century for me also.
Right.
Although I had done a few 80, 90 till that time, but that was the first century, if I remember correctly.
Right. So I remember those days. You had a Firefox target.
Correct.
And the orange Firefox target.
Correct. White and orange. Yes.
White and orange.
Yes.
And I had my first bike, which was a Hero Hawk.
Hero Hawk. Yes.
We were like going around. I remember that Nehru War was not open at that
No.
time, and we used to ride on whatever portion that
Correct.
was done,
Ah.
and also a lot of other routes as well. I think Chilkur, Gandipet.
Yes,
I remember
yes.
our rides to Gandipet.
I, in
and
fact,
all that.
remember the first time you wrote to Gandipet, you wrote a blog.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was the first time I also, I mean, I read about Gandipet, and then I wanted to visit Gandipet.
Right. So yeah, I used to ride 10 kilometers and write a 10,000 word blog around it. Almost like that. I just loved riding and then capturing those pictures and memories into putting them into words.
Yeah.
That's what
You
I
had
kind
blogs for almost every ride we did.
Yeah.
You did a blog on a ride we did from. I remember we both of us rode to Necklace Road, and you had a
Yeah.
blog that you titled some time trial something. Yeah.
Yeah, those were, I think, much simpler days. So where nothing really, we didn't know anything about training,
Yes.
heart rate, nothing. We just had fun. We
And the
rode a
community
lot.
was very small, right?
Very small.
There were
at
hardly
that
a few guys, and it was a very close knit kind of community. Everybody knew each other.
Yeah.
I mean, if you cycle in Hyderabad, I would know him or he would know me.
Correct,
So
correct.
we had about 8 or 10 guys. Then it was like Shai was heading the group.
Yeah, Shai Mandal was heading the Hyderabad Bicycling Club at that time. And these guys from Microsoft were Shai, then Matt, then I think Ed. So
Yes.
all these guys, so used to organize the rides,
Correct.
and there are those rides are usually around Hyderabad,
Correct.
the roads that we never knew existed.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
The roads that we never knew existed were shown to us by these foreigners,
Correct.
which was ironic. And they were our guides, charting the routes, planning them, and taking us around.
Even during the ride, he would go back, talk to the first guy, ride back again, speak to the last guy.
Yeah, he used to do that, as a ride leader. They were great, guys, great guides, great mentors. They used to make sure that the last guy on the ride is also, keeping up, or, make sure that he goes front and goes right back and takes care of the last guy. They were fantastic that way.
Really good.
Yeah, and also there were a few groups that rides that were like regular. One around Necklace Road, one around Cantonment. There used to be a major.
I think that it started slightly later.
Yeah.
By the time Shai had moved out, and
Right.
there was a formation of the Hyderabad, like more like a slightly formal thing, and there was different ride leaders for different places.
Correct. Yeah, that happened. That came a little later,
Yeah.
I think. But those were fantastic memories. Coming to the our longest ride together itself, what were your memories from that?
I kind of remember everything from that ride. I remember we met somewhere not too far from, I think, Nizampet Crossroads, and then we went through JNTU. You were carrying some bananas. That was the only on-ride nutrition we knew about.
Right.
And then later we discovered chicky also.
Yes.
So I remember you carrying a half a dozen bananas with you. And
I
then,
had a bag, I had a black backpack and stuffed that bag with whatever I could find.
yeah,
the
and
bananas.
there was nothing like you eat after in an hour or in 2 hours. So when you get hungry, you stop and you open the bag and start eating. So that was the plan, and we did pretty well. But midway into the ride, you realize that you were running on lower pressure, and then we started looking for a puncture shop. But the fact that we started so early, there was no shops open till we almost went to Nawabpet, where we are supposed to turn back.
Right.
So we found a puncture fellow I mean, we didn't have a puncture, but we still need to find a pump.
Yeah.
So that guy topped up the pressure, and I think then it was.
Yeah.
But by the time I think you were half dead and
I was
had very little energy.
totally drained out. Um, I was like, yeah. And by the time I came back, I realized that, I had a knee pain. My left knee
Yeah.
started paining. So what I realized was that pedal was wobbling.
Okay, wobbling. Yeah.
Everything on that bike wobbled, but the pedal,
Yeah.
sideways movement meant that my knee was short. I mean, also the fact that I was doing too much too soon, because I think before I started couple of months before, and within
Yeah.
within
Within a month, I think.
within a month I did that century ride. So I think combination of that wobbly pedal and too much too soon.
I remember you had done a 50 or 60 till then, and
Yeah.
this was by far the longest ride by
Correct.
good distance.
Correct. We ended up doing it like 110 or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that.
Exactly.
So it was almost a double. the
Yeah,
distance.
we were stopping at Shankarpalli Road, and I remember we were looking for some shortcuts. What is the shortest road back? And then there were no Google Maps,
Yeah.
so you ask people what is the way to go. And we remember we got into a different route that turned out to be part paved and part unpaved.
Yeah. Crazy it was, great memories. I must have that blog there, definitely. But great, yeah. So I during those times, I remember you talking about this idea about a bike shop, and I was also quite enthusiastic
Yeah.
about it. But I did not join.
I think around the time you moved to US.
Yeah. So 2009 was around the time I moved to the US. I think that's where
Correct.
the paths kind of separated.
Yeah.
And in 2009, you started TBA, right?
Correct.
So what made you, think of starting a bike shop, and what made you move away from the software?
So what happened was when I started cycling, which was I think I bought the bike somewhere about August or September or in 2008, and then I started commuting to work, and I was using it pretty regularly, at least 4 or 5 times a week. I was riding to work, which was about 10 kilometers or 11 kilometers one way. My office was in Amirpet, and I used to stay I still stay at Nirampet Road, so that's about 10 or 11 kilometer commute. And weekend I would go out doing like what we used to call long rides then, which would be like 80, 90 kilometers before I did the 100 with you.
Yeah.
So when you start riding bicycles, you also have certain basic service needs. But I didn't have good experience. Like, it was not just me, and there was another guy who was working in our company, and both of us bought the bikes together, and we had very bad experience when we tried to get the bike service. We realized that professionalism was completely missing. Like, I could give the bike for servicing, and they when I talk about the issues, they would not note down the problems, and even I would tell them, please note it down because you'll not remember. It's not possible to remember so many issues for so many bikes. But they would say that, okay, no, I will remember. That's how the industry used to work. And then they would say कि हो जाएगा कल परसों हो जाएगा, and then when I call, they would say कि नहीं हुआ है और 2 दिन लगेगा. Then ultimately when it would happen, I would take the bike, and when I go for a spin, I realized that it was just a temp fix and the problem is back again. And they would have no clue. They might have tried, but they would not have understood what's causing it. But something, it was simple. Like, I remember one of the problems was my the bottom bracket had rounded off. So the crank would keep coming off. So I gave it to them, and instead of changing the crank or the bottom bracket, they would just put it, hammer it back and tighten it, and job done. They would take 3-4 days for that. They would not do any test rides. So this was one part of it. The other part was if you need any bikes, like if you want to buy a bike, they would only deal with mountain bikes that point of time. Hybrids wasn't available in the Indian market then. It would come slightly down, but down the line. But even with hybrids, there is no concept of sizes. They would not recommend the right kind of bike. So we didn't have a very good experience. So now it was like three of us in our company, me, the other guy, both of us bought the same bike together. And then Gokul used to be our manager.
Yeah.
So we used to chat together, go out, like we used to connect well. So like a good manager, he would come and like ping us, ki, okay, let's go for a tea. And once in a day, at least we'll go down. And our office didn't have it had a very small cafe. So we would rather go down for a tea. Amirpet being a busy area, there are a lot of hordes of tea shops down. So we'd go down for a tea and those usual banters will start. And not surprisingly, most of the time it would be about cycling because that is something new happening. And then I used to talk about that this is the case and I'm not happy, like I'm not able to get the bike serviced properly. And I keep getting problems, and there should be better facilities for cyclists. And then I remember, like I used to be just giving the usual banters and gans. I never had any intent about a bike shop. But out of a blue, Gokul just told me, okay, why don't we start something? That was not in my mind at all, and it kind of I was completely taken aback, and I wasn't really thinking about that. And I was like stunned. But Gokul till then, he was always wanted to do something on his own. He was looking into something with motorbikes and this, that. And he thought it's an opportunity to do something. I kind of escaped that. And then, but it didn't end there. And then since after we spoke a few times, again over the tea breaks, he kind of convinced me. And then Bike Cafe started. It was for the first 1 year, we ran it part-time through a small cement godown that, you know the place.
Yeah, I know that cement godown on the same street that the current Bike Cafe is there. Is a small cement godown, and there was a service, the attachment was a service area, right? The bike wash area kind of thing.
Correct.
So it was a small shutter that you had, and it used to open only for a few on the weekend mostly.
So only on the weekends on appointments. Weekdays, if somebody is really desperate, then we used to again on appointment, and that used to have to be at 6 or 6:30 in the morning because by 8:30 it has to be locked and we would be back
at the office. So how long did this part-time thing go?
This happened for about a year. So we had Krishna, the technician, you remember, even before we started, when I figured out the issues, we got connected to Krishna through different other things. I think the first time I came to know somebody recommended a better mechanic was Sunil Menon. So he was getting his bike service there, and he said, okay, if you're not happy, why don't you give it a try? So when we started the store part-time, I offered Krishna and he was willing to work part-time for us. And that's all, me and Gokul and him, and we would open the store when we have an appointment, either 6 or 6:30 in the morning. Occasionally even 9:30 at night we would open if somebody cannot come in the morning and he wants to ride over the weekend, he wants to pick up the bike before. So we would open 9 o'clock at night and deliver it by 10 o'clock, shut again. And weekends also, it won't be the full day. It would be like a half a day. But it was, over the first 6-8 months, we realized that like work and this whatever passion or this thing is getting into each other. Sometimes there would be work, at our software company, which should not be done by, we don't get over by Friday, although we would want it to get finished by Friday, but you know how things are, and it would get pushed into weekends. And now we have already had appointments over the weekends, and people, because we are working, they have waited 4 or 5 days or sometimes a week for us to open.
Right.
So these kind of things started happening, and we realized that we cannot put both our feet in two different boats, so we have to take a call. For me, I was enjoying this more than my day job. So it was more. I didn't have to think much, and I generally, if I like something, I go with it. I'm not somebody who thinks a lot, so I just decided that I would give it a shot. Back of my mind, I had this key. Okay, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'll get back to my software job. But at the end, I mean, 10 years down, I don't want to look back thinking that I would have given this a shot. That was what I had in mind. And yeah, Gokul said that, okay, you go ahead, and if things are fine, I'll join you. I mean, there was no way both of us could have got enough from it. So we thought we'll do it in steps.
Okay, that is smart. I mean, so Gokul was the instigator of the idea, the seed.
Yeah, I distinctly remember that, although Gokul doesn't remember, and he denies every time I tell that.
Yeah. Okay, we'll have to hold him. He's not there to defend himself, but yeah. But interesting, right? Did you have any? I think at that time, this sort of part-time model was happening in Bangalore. With bots, there was some precedence there.
Yes.
And definitely, I remember when you were talking about this, we discussed about that as well.
Yes.
Him, Rohan doing it with bots. On the balcony shop,
he was running a shop from his terrace.
Yes, on his terrace.
Yeah.
So and here in this case, it was a cement godown instead of a terrace, but it was essentially the same model.
It's similar.
Yeah, similar model. You guys started in a similar way.
Correct.
But I think was it on August 15th, 2009 that you set up
we had
a display at I think that was the launch day of sorts, right? Was it?
Yes. So that day, the plan actually, we were looking to launch it by the end of August. But then with Merida bikes, and that time there was a different, Merida was brought in by a different company that time. There was no Merida bikes available in Hyderabad, and there were only two brands in premium segments available, Trek and Merida. There was somebody else selling Trek. So the only option for us was Merida. And I had I had taken a short spin of Merida before, and through Bike Zone, I knew that these bikes are good. There were a lot of fan following for Merida. They were available in Bangalore.
Right.
So we went ahead with Merida, and we were supposed to get it by the end of August then. And then Dina was doing the first edition of the Freedom Ride, and you were part of it.
Yes, I was.
Yes, and he wanted to put up a stall. I mean, he had multiple stalls, and so he wanted us to put up a stall there, and. Then we got in touch with our distributor, and he also wanted us to. We thought that it would be a good platform then.
Yeah.
So with so many cyclists, and it's one of his kind of ride, like Hyderabad has never seen an organized 100 before.
Yeah.
And I think a good at least 40-50 riders would have participated.
I think it was a 62 kilometers ride. Marking the 60.
Okay. It was not 100 kilometers.
No,
okay.
It was 60-second Independence Day or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I remember because I finished first
and
towards the end, because I think rest of the guys were chilling at the start. I mean, in between there were refreshment points and all. I just kept riding, and towards the end, Maddie was there, and he and I raced together, and
I see.
I pipped him to the line. But I distinctly remember the stall and posing with those shiny bikes.
So we
It
had a
was-
few bikes up in the stall, which was on the first floor in Novotel Hotel, and on down at the entrance we had kept about a couple of demo bikes, which we invited people to try it out. And also, that was the first instance of any demo bikes. What we had done is we had got about 5 demo bikes. Then we wanted to invest in demo bikes because those days. It was not common, right? So if you
Yeah.
have not ridden a 20K bike and if you have only ridden a 5,000 rupees bike, it's you need to experience that.
Yeah.
So it's completely different situation now because even if you have not ridden, you know somebody who has been riding.
Right.
That has not been the case then. So we thought that we definitely need some demo bikes, and that actually helped because people rode and they realized that okay. I mean, there is something different about the way these bicycles ride.
Right. Yeah, definitely. You know, someone like me riding a Hero Hawk, unless I unless I ride it, you say 25,000. Why? This is this is 4,000. Why? Why
Correct.
25,000? So once I get on and take a spin, of
And then you
course
realize
will
that the pedals don't wobble. Wow.
say, wow, pedals don't wobble and it is much smoother. No noises.
No noises, yes. Yeah.
No rattling.
Low rattling, yes.
So beautiful. Yeah, I think the demo bikes, we took a bit of spin and were like blown away.
Yeah.
I was really nice. So that was the start of.
So
for you guys.
yeah, so when we started actually, it was not the cement go down. The first 2 months was from my apartment, from one of my colleagues. I told you there were two of us bought bikes together, right?
Yes.
So he was also part of the business.
I remember. Yeah.
And some of you would have visited that place. So it was like he had let his hall for us to put the bikes. But then in a couple of months we realized that it's
too
invading privacy. Like the bikes are okay, but then when somebody comes and you have to show around. And, so
That's when the go down.
that's when the go down thing happened. I mean, it was a proper go down as well.
Yeah.
Like there was cement which has settled down,
Yeah.
and we cannot turn on the fan. But if I turn on the fan, there was no ceiling fan, of course, because there's asbestos roof.
Yeah.
We had a pedestal fan, but that has to be at a certain angle pointing out near the door for you to use it. Otherwise, it's going to blow all the settled cement out, and all the bikes are going to dusty. Even otherwise, every day we need to. One of the tasks was to spend a couple of hours cleaning all the bikes back again.
So did the cement stuff also was there? At that time when you were using the place for bikes?
No, it was an abandoned cement go down. It was not used as a cement go down, but there was no flooring on that. It is the cement that has settled down.
Right.
And over a period, it has settled down with a little bit of water and all. It is there's no flooring basically.
Yeah. It was quite dusty. And all
Yeah, it was very dusty, and you can't blow air there.
Right. And I remember, Krishna he was quite handy with the bikes, and we always hung out there.
Correct.
And over the weekend, found an excuse to come there and chat and.
We had the support of the community, so that was very good.
Yeah.
And we even had we didn't have a TV then, but we had a monitor, and we would sometimes we would connect to the internet and watch Tour de France and all. I don't know, it was probably later, not when you were there.
Not in that,
Yeah, it's 2000, maybe 10 kind of time.
Kind of thing. But was that go down thing there till I came back also? It was there, right? 2010.
Yes, 2009 is when we opened, 10 and 2011 March is when we moved out to the current place.
Right. Yeah, I came back from the US trip in September 2010. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because around that time, after that August Freedom Ride, I went to the US. I was there for 11 months, and then I came back.
Yeah.
And we were starting the rides from the shop around, and we were.
Correct.
I remember the Golconda ride we did. Yes, you, Sharon, and me, and all.
Yeah.
all the
We used to
guys.
do a few night rides and day rides. Yes.
So and then
So
Richard,
Sarvana used to stay just opposite.
just near
Just,
the
I mean,
shop.
he was our next door neighbor.
Correct. And he was like doing a 50 every day.
Correct.
He signed up for tour of Nilgiris at that time,
Okay.
2010.
Okay. So
And
when he signed up for the tour of Nilgiris, by that time he has moved out to Bangalore.
But closer to the tour, I think he moved up to the Bangalore, and around that time, December is when I moved to Bangalore as well.
Okay,
on a new job. But yeah, around that time, I did consider joining you guys.
I remember we did have a chat.
we chatted, and of course it a lot of things don't go as planned, but I ended up moving to Bangalore on a new job, and we kind of but we stayed in touch every time I came to Bangalore. Of course, I landed up at TBA. That was my kind of home, away from home, but always we caught up with over biryani, chais, and it's always a place dear to me.
Thank you.
TBA. And the kind of what were the kind of challenges you faced while in the initial years, moving from software job and getting into entrepreneurship, right? What were the things that you experienced, you had to deal with in the initial years?
Yeah, the personal front, the first challenge was to convince the family. My son was just about a year old then, and my wife was very cooperative. Like, she had her concerns, but I think she was not vocal about it.
Yeah.
And she wanted to give me the opportunity to try something.
Yeah.
My parents were even more concerned. It's not a traditional field, right? And when you are settled down in a field and in a software field, which allows you the luxury of certain lifestyle, and then the first thing was that the lack of the income hits you. What you would have taken for granted, that is not possible. Like, initially it was all fine, I think, for the first 6-8 months, because we were living out of our savings. And then was when that money got over 6-8 months or a year. That is when we realized that, okay, now the business has to feed us. And it was challenging for quite a long time. But that is something that we knew about when we started. It was not something that we were taken by surprise.
Correct.
We knew that it's going to be challenging like this. But one side, you also have doing something that you want to do, and it's something that you look forward doing, you enjoy doing, and you are in complete control of. So that part was fine. From a work point of view, I think the biggest challenge is the way we wanted to run the business. So traditionally, if you look at cycling business, it is basically you go to a shop, like in India is what I mean, or more in most of these places in Hyderabad and possibly in other places in India. You go to a shop, you tell them that I want this bike, and you talk and negotiate and best price and take it and go. You don't expect the shopkeeper to guide you. So now we realized that the reason we wanted to get into the business is we had certain bad experiences when we were riding.
Right.
And like the lack of quality, suggestion, professionalism in terms of time commitment or the quality of work, those kind of things, even advices, or even the, like I would say, honest advice. Most of the shops I had been, not just cycling throughout, like they would try to sell you things that they would have in stock rather than what you really want, or what they would have bigger margin rather than what is the correct product for you. So the reason we started was we realized that cycling actually has the potential to change somebody's life. But this is possible only when it is experienced the right way. And when you want somebody to experience cycling in the correct way, then you have to do a few things. Like it has to start from the right advice and the honest advice in choosing the right kind of bicycle, then helping him with the correct fit, so that in terms of sizing as well as post purchase, tuning up the basic fit for him. Then the right kind of advices on how to maintain the bike, also the advices on the basic techniques of riding, the cadence or whatever, speed, handling, those things. But to do that properly, you need the right kind of people. You need to pay them the right kind of money, and then it is not possible to offer them value only in terms of discounts. So that I think has been the biggest challenge for us. It's something we are still fighting, but we have at least a core set of our customers who understands the value we provide, and they keep coming back to us because they look at value of a bike, not just the value of few thousand rupees less at the time of buying, but it's a complete value on what they are going to achieve with the bike.
Right.
Like whether the bike is able to, like how much they are riding and whether they are able to really enjoy cycling. So that is something that has been a challenge, but it's a good challenge. It's a good challenge to have, and it is. I would not go and do it any other way.
Right.
Like that is the only reason we got into opening Bike Affair, because we really wanted people to experience cycling the way it should be. It's but we at times we experience other shops which are looking at selling bicycles at a certain discount, but they lack the other aspects of it. They may end up recommending a wrong size bike, or the quality of the support and service would be really bad, or sometimes even advices that could be geared towards selling a particular bike rather than solving a person's rider's need.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good challenge that we had, but it's still been a big challenge for us to change the way bicycles are sold at least in Hyderabad. I think bots have been doing that in Bangalore since long.
Right. Yeah, I think that thing was a big thing, right? Not trying to lure people with discounts. The concept of discounts, it is a kind of no-win game at the end, right? Who is going to provide? If you are providing bigger discount, and then that guy offers a bigger discount and all that,
Correct.
It's at the end who. You wouldn't make anything.
I mean, there is no harm in the discount. Like, I mean, I love when I shop online on Amazon and all. I look at items which are having a good deal. But when you are buying a bicycle, you need to look at the complete deal. And the discount is only a small part of the deal. So ultimately, if you are getting the right kind of advice, the honest advice to pick up the right kind of product, if you're getting the right kind of support and service to maintain your bike, and then you have the right kind of communities to help you to be part of riding, then you have achieved what you wanted to when you thought about buying a bicycle. Otherwise, bicycle is just like any other tool that you might buy, maybe 2,000, 3,000, or even 5,000 cheaper than another shop, but you may not end up riding it for long. There are some people who might do that, but what we have seen is it's very difficult to do both, actually. So either if either we do run it as a discount store where we offer big discount and don't spend a lot on the other aspects of it, or you do everything well, and then there is a cost associated with it. Like I can't pay somebody peanuts and ask him to guide or help customers. I have to recruit people who are motivated. I have to pay them well, because part of the motivation comes when you are able to meet your daily needs, right? If the person is struggling with his daily financial needs, however passionate he is, he's not going to be motivated. So the good amount of things, these kind of things goes into training, salaries, and all, and there's a lot of time being spent with a customer. The challenge, I mean, I would like to do both, but we haven't been able to achieve that. I would like to give a good discount as well as do that.
Yeah.
But if I have to choose one out of these two, it would not be the discount.
Yeah.
It would be the other one.
Yeah.
Because giving a discount is okay from a sale point of view. It is satisfactory for me. But at the end of the day, when I look back and see that the rider is not riding and he's not enjoying his ride, or if he's coming back with an injury, that doesn't make any sense, because there was a reason when we quit our job and wanted to follow this.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of it's the, like you said, it's the whole experience, the whole package of experience, right? And then you also started doing tours and other things. What are the, apart from the bikes and the surveys, what else does TBA do? And
Yeah, so around 2016, we wanted to expand the portfolio of services, because we realized that the retail could at time can become a discount game, and we wanted to look at like in line with the whole idea. Like I told you, we wanted to give a great experience. Like we think that cycling can change people's life if done correctly, and to do that, it has to be done in a certain way.
Right.
So we thought bike fit is key to that. Coaching or guidance in terms of how you can become a better rider after you purchase a bike, that is key to that. And bike tours is something, it has been close to me, because I started like even before we opened the store.
I remember you did a few tours, few tours with who is that, Anil, right?
I did only one tour with Anil, and in fact I asked you also. I knew you around that time, but I think you couldn't take leave. You were interested, but you needed to take about 8-9 days. So it's just two of us. But cycling for me actually is not something a tool for exercising and all. It's just a tool for me to experience nature or to travel.
I remember that you have always been a person who loved to explore the new places, new routes, different, maybe different places, different foods there and stuff.
Even before I got into cycling, that was the way. Like I've always been a curious traveler. And cycling has only ignited and given me a way to actually get there. Like you cannot go. I mean, it's not easy to go to a village and explore small eateries or small forests and all in a car, or you'll not enjoy it. Even if you go there, you'll not enjoy it.
Right.
But here, it's different.
Yeah. On a cycle, it's always a conversation starter, right?
Correct.
Yeah. People are curious. They're amazed that you are actually, came from somewhere to this place, and you're, there is a certain amount of, respect, or the way they look at you and they treat you is different on a bike. And your own experience is also something way different than if you are in a car or something, right?
Definitely. In a car, when you're driving in a car, like if you look at the 5 different senses we have, you have cut off almost everything. Like you can't hear, you can't feel it on your skin. But, I mean, you can only see. The touch is gone. You can't smell, because obviously you are inside the glass, and even if you smell, it would be whatever deodorant or freshener you have putting in the car. But when you are riding, it's not just you are inhaling the smell, but the fact that you are breathing much deeper, right? So you are experiencing everything in a different way.
Right.
You're like, the experience is profound. Like when you smell something, you're really smelling it.
Right.
And the fact that you are cut off from everything else and you are not multitasking. Even in a car, you're probably listening to music or chatting with friends. You're not focused on the journey, right? On the bicycle, you are like on the cycle, enjoying each and every moment. Like you cannot be not part of, when you go back, you'll probably remember each and every pothole of that road. So it's very intimate relation when you are on the road on a bicycle.
Right.
It's not the same when you are in a car.
So the bike fit and then the coaching aspect and the touring aspect
Correct.
came in.
Correct,
And what
correct.
else?
I know these were the primary three things. Like I got myself trained in 2017-18 from JBMized, and then I have been doing bike fit almost at least a few every month. But this is something that we don't market too much, but it is word of mouth.
But you take care of the bike fit and the touring aspect of it, and Gokul takes care of the coaching
of the
aspect
coaching.
of it.
Yes.
And both of you, of course, take care of the stores, retail aspect of
the
it.
retail. Yes, we are involved, but now we have a very good team. We have Siddharth and Sampath, and we have the service team, Hikmat and Shalindra. So they need our guidance in terms of the business part of it, but day-to-day running, it can just run on their own.
That's good. That's good. So yeah, coming back to touring aspects of it, what are the some of the tours, standard tours? Are there standard destination tours that you do, or what about that experience that you enjoy most?
So for the tours, right? We have tours we did tours in Thailand, Vietnam, and Sri Lanka before COVID hit. The focus was to explore a new place on bicycle, and I personally believe that it's the best way to see a new place. Like when you want to experience something a little deeper, like not like the superficial, like seeing tick 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 tick, and if you want to go beyond that, it is much better done on a bicycle because you're slowing it down when you're riding, and that gives you that extra time to actually look around. And the fact that you are breathing deep also puts you in a more meditative stage, and that means that you are in a certain zone and your experience is much deeper, like when you are meditating. So so the idea was to let people experience a new place on a bicycle, and experiencing that there are 3-4 different aspects of it. Good roads has to be given, like you have to be riding on the best road of that place. And when I talk about the best road, it's the back roads is what I'm talking about, not the
highways,
definitely not the highways. So they say like my way or highway. In my case, my way or your way, but definitely no highway.
No highway.
So highways is something I really hate. So I have been also involved in some of the brevet routes and all, but all the brevet routes that we have been part of, they're all interior routes, including the heaven and hell that we do here. Going back to the tours, so the core thing is the route, and then accommodation plays an important part because it's not just riding, even you are looking at as a vacation. So it's a complete thing. So your experience while riding the bike, your experience when you are not riding the bike, and food plays an important role again. So again, as much as possible, it's designed to give you a local taste and local cuisine, rather than the hotel cuisine, because they're all same whether you have it in Hyderabad or Bangalore. It is same. These are. So we started doing tours in Southeast Asia, and then after COVID, we wanted to look for a domestic destination. So last year we did 2 in Goa, and this year just in September we had 1 in Kerala.
Nice. Okay, so. But while conducting these tours, are you able to ride yourself, or that aspect happens before while planning and stuff?
So there are some of these tours I can ride because I would have somebody else to take care of the logistics. But in some of the places I cannot because I have to manage completely. Okay. So for example, I have built a team in Goa. And they can manage it. Like we have done the recces and hotel visits and everything together. And before the tour happens, I also do a recce with the staff, the final recce. When we go after finalizing the route, we took the staff around and go around and do the final mapping of the route. So they have been part of everything. And the last 2 rides I have ridden. So they can take care of the logistics during the tour. but some of the tours, like the one we did in Kerala, I had a smaller team and I could not leave it to them. So I had to take care of it. Similarly, in Thailand, I take care of it. But in some of the other places like Vietnam and Sri Lanka, we work with a partner and then I can ride. So it depends on the tour. But
Yeah.
that's fine. Like when I do the tour, it's the goal is to give the experience to the riders. So my riding is a bonus because it helps me to keep fit and also to enjoy.
Right.
But it's not something that I'm hung up on.
Right. What do you enjoy out of all the things that do at TBA? What do you enjoy the most?
I think I enjoy mostly the bike fit as well as the tours. Because in the tours, I have certain. I mean, I have always liked to travel, and I feel that exploring nature, mountains, the local cuisine, staying in places that has character, this is a correct way of travel. But most people, or a good number of people, haven't been exposed to all these things, and they end up riding on highways and like not like the really scenic roads. So like I feel that when people can actually explore these kind of routes and they really enjoy. So I have known people who have joined these tours and then they say that they don't know if they'll be able to go back and ride in Hyderabad the regular road. So I feel like cycling has its charm, and if you can it's like you can bring out the best of cycling if you are combine it with nature, and that is where the tour comes in. And since I believe in that, and when I have people coming and joining me on these tours, and at the end of the tour when they say that wow, they really had the best time of their life, so it's
very satisfying.
It is very satisfying, and that is something. Then they start realizing that okay, cycling doesn't mean that you'll have to be just going out and riding for 30 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours, just pushing hard and coming back. It can also mean your proximity to nature, or good food, or certain amount of challenges in terms of hills that you really look forward to. And going to bike fit, it gives me a lot of pleasure when I can solve somebody's issues. And that's the core of bike fit. So I don't stop at changing the bike. I do whatever is necessary to solve the problem. Like if you come and say that I have an issue, I don't stop at the bike saying that, okay, I've sorted the bike out. I have invested a lot of time in studying and understanding what could be the issues in terms of which is causing those issues. So the bike is only a part of it, right? Like it's the person riding the bike also. So the best we can get the best result if we work on both the bike and the body. But working on the body sometimes can be a little long term, and not everybody would be motivated to stick to.
When you say you're working on the body, it is the rider flexibility and
it is increasing the flexibility, or working on a muscular imbalance, and first is identifying, and so I mean there are different aspects to it. Like I actually tried exploring some of the other like yoga and some of the like Feldenkrais methods, all those things, just to understand the body better and how we can work on the body also parallelly.
Okay.
So that is something that I have been spending a lot of time reading and understanding. But generally, I love bike fit because like when somebody comes back with pain and concern, and many times he has not been able to achieve a certain goal because of those things, and then if I can really solve those and get him back onto the bike, going back to his old mileage, then that gives a lot of pleasure.
It's an immediate feedback.
It is.
In some cases, they can immediately feel the difference.
Correct.
And if you can help a person enjoy the ride without all those niggling issues,
correct,
that is a big blessing for them and hugely satisfying for you as well.
Yeah. Sometimes like I mean, many people take all these injuries as something they're part of cycling. Like I realized this later, but uh, sometimes when people come for bike fit and I have a typical questionnaire to check with them if they have this issue, because many times they may not tell. So I remember I was speaking to somebody, and when I prompted him on back pain and all, he said, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's not a problem. Back pain to hota hai, but I think it happens to everybody." So he would not be able to ride for the next 1 or 2 days after a ride, because he thinks it's normal. That's because there is that the very wrong notion of no pain, no gain. A lot of people take it in a different way, and pain becomes something you feel that if you have got a pain, it's good and it's part of it. So when you can make cycling pain free, and you can actually have the bike disappear when you are riding, so that is good.
That's good. That's very satisfying.
And the other thing,
please.
I just wanted to tell you about the bike fit is, so we are completely focused on solving the problem, and the bike fit comes with a we give a 60 days guarantee that if the person is not happy, it's complete money back.
Okay.
So my logic is that you are here to solve, get a solution for a certain problem.
Right.
So I am doing my best to solve your problem, but in any case, if I'm not able to solve your problem, I do not deserve that money.
Okay.
So so there were, like, if it also clears the mind of the person that okay, it also helps me also to put in that additional effort, because I know that if I'm not able to solve the problem, I have to give the money back. So it motivates me in that way, and the customer is also clear. Okay, so this is like, if I'm not able to get a solution, then I have my money back.
That is really good. That shows the customer centricity and the ethos of the bike affair as well. These are the things that, of course, you are a friend and first and foremost, rather than a bike store owner. But this is something that I have always noticed about you and Gokul as well, that the ability to put yourself in customers' shoes and empathize with their point of view, and taking that approach of customer centricity in the way you deal with people, and putting the customer front and center, and that really shows in the way that you deal with the customers, and the way you put yourself out there.
In this case, I feel it's just a simple decision of what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
So I feel I do not have right on anybody's money if I'm not going to be able to solve somebody's problem for whom he is paying me. So it's just a simple right or wrong. We have done similar things, like many. I remember at least one case where a customer actually came back. We have sold him a bike, and he came back 3-4 months later. And then he with some complaint on back pain, but he was just asking us to adjust the bike because he was having some discomfort on the bike. And those days we were also learning on sizing and all. And when the bike came, when I saw that person sitting on the bike, I realized that we have sold him a small size bike, and he was 6 foot 3 inches. So I called Gokul aside and told him that we have sold him a wrong size bike, and that is the reason he is getting the pain. So and he has already ridden 3-4 months. So I told Gokul that let's just take back the bike and offer him a different bike. Let him. It's just a fresh transaction for him. If it's lesser than, if he picks up a bike which is lower than this, then we pay him the money back. And if he ends up picking up a bike which is higher, then he pays for the difference. We proposed the same to the customer. He was surprised, and he thanked, and he picked up a different bike which was his size. By the time we were also figured out, we had a better idea about the sizing, and because both of us were together, we could do that. And then he is now, a lifelong customer for us, and he went back, sent an email to us thanking us and saying that he was not expecting this, and he wished us luck. And and till that point, that customer was a very fussy customer, and we had trouble dealing with him before. Like you would doubt every small thing that we would do. It happens with
Yeah.
many times. If you don't have trust at the shop,
Because that is the way people are used to, right? Because people look at shopkeepers
Exactly.
as someone who is
Trying to sell you.
trying to sell you something,
Correct.
or whatever he has, trying to dupe you or take your money. That's the way, typically
the industry
whoever
works. Yeah. Yeah.
whoever comes into a shop.
Yeah.
But
So in bike at Bike Affair we never sell. The like it's not just me and Gokul, and that has we have the same ethos has been transferred to the team, and the idea is to guide a customer to the right product. If you don't have the right product, send him to a different shop. Or try to get the right product for him, but we are transparent with customers that this is what you need, this is, and we have this for you, or if you don't have it, then this is where you can get it from.
Yeah, and when mistakes do happen sometimes, and when mistakes do happen, it is the ability to own up that mistake and try to rectify it. In that case,
Correct.
when you realize that, okay, he ended up with a frame too small, you you did him right.
And it wasn't his complaint. Like
Yeah.
his complaint was he's not comfortable on the bike,
Yeah.
and he wanted us to make some adjustments so that he is more comfortable.
Yeah, then you realized it. Yeah. No, that,
But
that's
if we can make things simple, like if you just can put things into what is right and what is wrong, and then
That's
it
the
becomes
primary thing.
That's I mean we don't need to make it complicated.
Yeah.
So in this case, we did a wrong thing by selling the incorrect frame size, and we have to do the right thing, and that is we have to give him an option to upgrade to the correct size.
Right. So this has been fantastic, going down down the memory lane and talking about my favorite bike shop in Hyderabad. But what are how you started this new store, the RUSWIC.
Correct.
Can you talk a little bit about this? What
So
does this?
So RUSWIC is more like the words comes from running, swimming, and cycling. It's a concept by our distributor actually.
Okay.
One of the brands we work with, and the products are the products from their portfolio, and it's a shop which is in partnership with them.
Okay.
It is in principle it is supposed to focus on running, swimming, and cycling. But in this particular store, we have little lesser focus on cycling because our cycling store is not too far from it. I mean, we have only about 15 minutes from here, so we haven't have a lot of cycling stuff here. But otherwise, right now, this is more a running store. We have the Saucony and Garmin as two of the primary products, along with some 2X apparels. And very soon we will have the swimming line coming up. It got a little bit delayed because of COVID, but it is going. The swimming and running are going to be the two primary focus here.
Okay.
This is not a venture which is owned by Bike Affair, but it's in partnership with the supplier we are dealing with, and the Hyderabad one is ours. There may be another RUSWIC somewhere else in the country, and that is going to be the case. There are going to be many of those in the countries, and we may not be a part of it.
Oh, okay. And where do you see the Bike Affair in the next few years? What are the plans for the store?
See, I would like to see Bike Affair. I mean, in future, I would like to see it at a bigger space, which offers everything that we talked about in the same space. Like we have like a bigger space with a coffee shop, having an area dedicated to the tools, having a proper bike fit room, and even an area dedicated to coaching along with the bikes and the accessories. So right now, what we are looking at is primarily a bicycle shop that has the service center and the bicycle retail front, and a little bit of the bike fit. We have a space for that there, but not at the international level. because for the bike fit, if we have to invest in the technology, then the cost goes up significantly. And I think the market is getting ready, but we'll wait a little longer before we bring that those technologies into it. But we would want all the services we offer in a single under a single roof at a bigger space. Make it a place for cyclists to drop by, hang out, have a coffee. The whole essence of a cycling community. That is what I look at Bike Affair in future.
Yeah, I mean the Bike Affair the store always has that vibe. I mean, at least for me, I always love coming down and hanging out there with you guys. Uh, but bigger space, everything under one roof, would be fantastic as well. And you what a store like this does is take care of lot of cater to a lot of working athletes, right? That is the reason behind me trying to talk to the bike shop guys who I love. I mean, there are a lot of those, and you are one of the primary ones. So you guys have been doing a great job in catering to the needs of lot of the working athletes, lot of athletes in general. So I wish you all the best with all your future goals and future plans, and keep doing well, so that we keep riding well. And we all grow together as a community.
Thank you, Venki.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you, Krish. Thank
Same
you for
here.
taking the time out.
Yeah, thank you, Venki. And it was great to be part of the Walking Athlete podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was my conversation with Krish of the Bike Affair. Hope you enjoyed it. If you are enjoying these podcasts, you can support the podcast by subscribing to the YouTube channel. The channel is Bikey Venky on YouTube. That is Bikey, BIKEYVENKY. It really helps me keep doing these podcasts. Of course, please subscribe to the Working Athlete podcast on your favorite podcasting app, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, etc. See you next week with another guest. And thank you for your support.